The end for Meghan and Harry. Their brand is completely destroyed. Against South Park Studio. If Meghan and Harry, they do this against South Park Studio, this is going to be the end of their brand, their career, what they're planning. Before we talk about what Meghan and Harry they're planning to do against South Park Studio, I want you to listen. Some of these paragraphs so that we have some information, but most importantly some fun.
It's a little longer that segment, but yes, they are defined by these signs. We want our privacy. Stop looking at us. That is how it starts.
You've lived a life with the royal family. You've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Wah.
Hold on. I gotta go back. Wah. Your new book, Wah. I mean, yeah, that's accurate.
And then there's a little like signs with them going through all these countries saying privacy, privacy, and everybody just the disdain for them. They've jumped the shark. Garrity, I saw you laughing during the bit. You tell me, is it over for them in terms of their hopes for being the next Barack and Michelle Obama, or political leaders or influencers here in the United States?
We just want to be normal people. All this attention is so hard.
Oh, that's awesome. It continues with the appropriate skewering of them running around the world saying, please don't look at us, but look at us, don't look at us, please look at me.
Oh, I mean, hashtag relatable. I mean, honestly, I think what is so great about South Park is that they typically, touch base with topics that are relevant in pop culture, but they explain it. So even though it's silly, they explain it so eloquently. What they're saying is these two are not sincere people. They say that they want their privacy.
Let's take a look at some of your comments. Very funny, the video they have posted about Meghan and Harry. The first comment I have from Elise Guest Spry, and she said, I believe this answers everyone's question, does America like Meghan and Harry? No. The answer is no. South Park just served the Heracles. Then I have another comment from Tosca. This is the best of South Park, telling it as it really is true. Then I've been in another comment from EMCC. I'm so happy they showed that they are so attention-seeking and everything is just for the money and their ego. Plus it pays a wage for them. They take money from the account named after their son. Disgusting people. Then I have another comment. I love how South Park nailed it for the majority of us Americans. Meghan and Harry are bad news when they are roasted by Matt and Trey. The Charcoals thought they would be so well liked here. But how wrong they are. I have to read this one from Linda Baker. I'm your puppet. Pull my string and do what you want. I your puppet. Then I have another comment from Anne. Good day, all. Oh, my gosh. Comes to an all-new low when a cartoon is taking the mic out of you. Or wow. How low can you go, Sparkles? Then I have another comment from Giselle. I am beginning to feel that royal family and the Harkos have a symbiotic relationship. Vehicles are spread their outrageous lies and damaging views about the royal family globally in their books, series and interviews. So true. Now let's take a look at what legal action Meghan and Harry they are going to take against South Park. Before I explain more to you, let's take a look at Neil Sean's this report.
We decided to move halfway around the world, first to Canada with rumours of South Africa, and then settling in California, of course. What's interesting here, though, to note, and I find fascinating, is that, yes, it's a little bit cruel, it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, but really, is it any worse than what, Jeremy Clarkson wrote? That is, of course, the British columnist who cited that he'd like to see Meghan Markle paraded up and down the high street. You know that story now. Now, this particular cartoon has apparently angered not necessarily Meghan Markle, I have to point out, but her rather, shall we say, hot-headed husband, Prince Harry. And according to a very good source, it appears that Prince Harry is looking into the legalities, and as ever, we have to say allegedly. This really all centres upon the fact that he didn't mind some of the jokes, but the way they portrayed as vacuous, empty-headed people that seemingly are touring the world while promoting his book, all the while trying to get people interested in his book in their quest for privacy. It's a really funny skit. Now, what I would suggest, and I'm sure very close advisors to Harry and Meghan have already done this, is to simply let it go, because the bottom line is it shows them in a fun light. If you decide to get legal and make more of a big issue of it, then people will think simply that you have no sense of humour and simply can't laugh at yourself. But we've seen this really, haven't we, time and time again with Harry and Meghan. They get very upset over the slightest thing. things that wouldn't necessarily bother other people, but seemingly, of course, in their quest for perfection, and of course, basically putting their own narrative together, then they want to stamp out anyone who doesn't agree with that. South Park's been going for years. It's been made by Comedy Central, and of course they're saying that it's impossible for them to become legal simply because it's a skit.
We know Meghan and Harry. They are fighting 10 legal battles in the last 3 years. They have already too much on their plate. Would a dish shoe South Park this time and take them to the court and make them the 11th party that they have taken to the court? We do not know. But right now, according to what Nishan is saying, we can say almost with certainty that Harry would take South Park to the court and sue them. If they do this, the consequence will be dire. Why? Because people are very, very unhappy. It will show, as Neil Sean said, Meghan and Harry. They're not able to handle criticism as a result. What will happen is that people will actually make more fun of them, especially if they lose the court battle, assuming they have taken it to the court. Therefore, I don't personally think it's a good advice to Meghan and Harry from their advisors to take legal action against South Park. Even though we all know that Meghan had a deep down in their heart, they know how ridiculous, how disgusting they have become. Let's hear more of their brand explanation.
I think Harry and Meghan are genuinely shocked that they have not been received well. The documentary has caused a massive drop in their popularity, even in America. I would say before, most people were either ambivalent to them or just simply respected their right to leave and lead private lives. But now more and more people are calling out their inconsistencies and their nonsense narratives. The people who supported them will continue to do so, and I'll address why separately. But the people who didn't care or just didn't have enough information are now starting to see the truth. And so many people have come out on Twitter and TikTok talking about the inconsistencies of their stories and how they generally seem disingenuous. This is what happens with a narcissist. The more you're exposed to one, the more you can see through the image that they're trying to paint. This is why a narcissist typically has to move every few years, not necessarily physically, but it has to change jobs, social circles, etc., because they start to get found out. And that's exactly what's happening here. Do Harry and Meghan actually want privacy? This is definitely one of the most common questions. Why are Harry and Meghan always asking for privacy but constantly infringing on their own, as well as their families? They are in this massive war against the British press in wanting space. But in his book, Harry is talking about his privates, intimate details about his sexual encounters, as well as information about his children. It's because they don't want privacy. They want control. They want to be perceived a certain way and impose their will, either by force, which is way too obvious, or by creating an intense victim narrative, where then other people who feel sorry for them will attack their enemies and force them to fall in line, which is what they want. Control. Less obvious, very manipulative. The privacy thing has always been a lie. They want to be in the media, but they want to control what the media says about them, and they want to be paid for any information they give out. When will Harry and Meghan go away, and will their fans ever move on? Do narcissists ever give up, or will they complain ad infinitum? I don't think they will go away. Maybe if and when they break up, Harry might have his path of rehabilitation, but who knows? But Meghan will never stop, because it is fundamentally unacceptable to her that she isn't as widely revered as she thinks she should be. Narcissists never give up. They just keep changing their stories to see what will hopefully stick. The public will definitely grow tired of them and eventually stop reporting on the pair completely. But for now, they will continue to hold attention because they represent such an intense challenge to the national identity of the United Kingdom as well as the US in a lot of ways, and I'll discuss that in more detail separately. As long as our culture allows for victim narratives to be used in public discussion, they will continue. Right now, victim narratives reign supreme, so they're riding that wave as hard as possible to grow their influence and make money.
The bottom line is whether they take South Park to the court or not. The brand has been dented, guys. A lot of people are now disbelieving in their stories. The reason is because they are being exposed, especially by South Park, the way they have never been. Perhaps this is the biggest shame for Meghan and Harry's public humiliation, because nobody in the past ever spoke against them the way South Park did. So yeah, Meghan, Harry, by all means go ahead, go to the court, sue them, do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, you guys have your brand downgraded quite a bit.